Wait a minute. I have a series to start. You can fight it. You can run from it. But eventually, it will catch up with you. Well, not exactly the zombies, but rather the many mods contained within the Project Zomboid workshop. One of Zomboid's greatest strengths and weaknesses is the ability to craft your own story and being able to set your own goals. Mods only serve to enhance this experience by giving you more to work with. This is a normal onion, and here we are in Raven's Creek. Probably the most famous Project Zomboid map mod, as it offers a big city experience that looks more like what you'd expect out of a zombie movie than Louisville. Now don't get me wrong, Louisville is great, but compared to the radio broadcasts and newscasts that are currently in the game, when you get there the place looks quite sterile and not as chaotic, with a couple of places being exceptions. But that's a rant for another time. Cut to our nameless protagonist. Stripped of everything in his possession by some looters for anything and everything that he had, he was left to die on the roof by either the bite of the dead or the bite of the cold winter air. Upon hearing gunshots nearby, the bandits saw opportunity, and so did our survivor here. Initial inspection showed the streets to be somewhat clear of the dead, so we rummaged through the apartments below for anything that we could use to stave off the elements and whatever else might come our way. As luck would have it, this zombie had a crowbar lodged into it. Oh yeah, some of these guys also sprint now, making encounters just that much more dangerous if I'm not paying attention. In another grand stroke of luck, the warehouse just next to this place had a sledgehammer, and next to that was a small gun store. While sprinters are fast, I have yet to meet one that can outrun bullets. Not only that, but there are also Hollywood-grade silencers in here that would make it significantly easier to move around the city and silently escape through the tunnel on the east end of town, since someone's most likely drawn the horde towards the port. After shopping around the store for my choice of pew-pews and a short rest, the snow fell and I started making my way around the city, quietly dispatching any undead that were in my way. I eventually came across another gun store where I found a cool poncho and shopped around for some more firepower. A quick nap in a fitting room later, I made my way to the nearby high school, which was converted into what seemed like a temporary military camp before it was abandoned. Thankfully, there was still a military backpack sitting in one of the lockers, which would be a massive upgrade from the duffel bag I've used up to this point alongside some other things. Another short rest to ensure my Eldritch Blasts are the best they can be. I took about a day or two to clear out the apartment buildings nearby, all of which seem to fall under the Plan Z building code because they have built-in armories on one of their floors.
A choice of an avid gun collector.
After clearing out the apartments, I began making my way south towards one of the many police stations in the city. Along the way, there was a pawn shop and a pretty decent looking car parked in front of it. Popping open the back entrance, I found a Carzone VHS tape here and replaced one of my guns with a more rapid fire option. And just down the alley, there was a video store that had a plethora of VHS skill tapes. The fog rolled in sometime after, and I sought shelter in a storage unit to rest and wait for the weather to clear up. Eventually, we made it to the police station, broke down a section of the fence, and got to work clearing it out. To ensure no nosy Zeds stopped by, I blocked the fence with a large truck after clearing the parking lot and made my way inside where it seemed like there were some, shenanigans taking place in the jail cells.
What the?
Nothing a little blasting and bashing can't fix, though.
Nope.
I got whatever I could from the armories and watched the first episode of Carzone to get myself a level in mechanics so that I could hotwire vehicles. The following morning, I started making my way towards a military surplus store nearby to grab some more ammunition, as I'm sure I'll need it to make my escape out of the city. Shopping around there took almost a full day, as I had too many good options available to me there, and I ended up having to take a quick nap at the back of the store. This messed with the sleep schedule I had going, so I spent the day after arranging my escape vehicle. Since I could hotwire cars now, I made my way back to the pawn shop with a decent looking car and used it to pick up the rest of the ammo I figured I could use from the apartments near the high school. While in the process of this, though, a rotary-winged menace flew around the city, so I hunkered down by a staircase and waited for the pilot to finish up their zoomies. Thankfully, this part of the city was mostly cleared up, and I expertly made my way back to the police station. While the ride back was pretty uneventful, the effects of the helicopter event showed itself the following day. Or it could just be Ravens Creek being what it is. I honestly can't tell you which. In either case, I still had to fight block by block just to make my way towards a large warehouse that also contains a small armory along with the other usual warehouse loot. Specifically, what I was looking for here was a welder's mask so that I could take apart the many car wrecks obstructing the roads leading out of the city and facilitate an easier escape. While I didn't find one in the many crates this place has, a zombie was kind enough to hand one off to me, but as with everything else in Ravens Creek, the undead won't let you have things without some amount of resistance, so I made a hasty retreat to the vehicle mobile, killing off any stragglers and raiding some stores nearby before getting started on clearing out the checkpoint into the city. As I got closer to being comfortable with the path out of the checkpoint, I returned to some previously visited locales to grab some extra items and ammo for the fight ahead. Countless others have tried to escape and ultimately failed in their attempts, but our nameless protagonist refuses to die in this city. He did, however, end up getting sick from eating too much, which delayed the drive out of the city by a day. On top of some terrible indigestion, The Horde had moved en masse once again and attempted to surround the police station. Time was of the essence before we inevitably perished by the elements, natural causes, or the undead. One last run around and stuffing the police truck with whatever I felt was needed, and it was time to tear the fence down. The way to the tunnel was mostly clear, and I made it to the checkpoint within the tunnel. It was there whilst I was moving barricades I made a fatal mistake. I got in a messy scuffle with the dead, a sprinter came into the mix, and a bite soon after. I refuse to die when I'm so close to freedom. I will escape this cursed city, declared the survivor. With a strengthened resolve, he drove to the final military checkpoint leading out of the city and found himself facing a sizable undead horde. A final obstacle between the doomed city and the rest of the world, as if to test his will. As ammunition dwindled, we had to go back to scrounge up any amount of ammunition left at the tunnel checkpoint. There was no going back to the city, as that would take precious time we couldn't afford. One last good rest for a while, and the fight resumed against the numerous undead barring his path. His caffeinated crusade against the zombies shambling away in the checkpoint spanned sleepless days and nights until finally, he could clear a path for his vehicle towards freedom. A survivor drove until he made it to a section of the road free of any zombies, pulled over to the side, and fiddled with the radio as if to remember a simpler time before the virus took the world by storm, and finally relaxed. If you liked what you saw, consider leaving a like, comment, and maybe consider throwing a subscription my way. If you've played with Project Zomboid mods before, what are some of your favorites? As always, my friends, much love, thank you for your support and time. Speaking of which, we just hit 50 subscribers and I really can't thank you guys enough. This has been a Normal Onion, and I hope you have a wonderful day.